Welcome to the League of Extraordinary Atheists for Humanism, where we attempt to apply logic and reason to religion and politics. I'm here with my wonderful, beautiful producer guy, Nacho Witness. He's behind the scenes. You can't see him. Christy's not here this week. She's having some health issues, so she's taking the week off. So please wish her well. Send her some tweets online. Let her know that you think of her. So that said, we have a bunch of shit show to recap over like the last 3 weeks that we haven't been here. So let me pull up the chat real quick because I haven't done that yet. Make sure I can see everyone who's in here. And cool, we got RB, we got Brantley, we got Mr. Shadow Kitty, we got Smitty. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good to see you guys. Hello, peeps. But yeah, so let's get started. The first thing that I wanted to go over with you guys tonight is the Flint water crisis. There are charges that have been filed against what's his face, Rick Snyder. He was the governor at the time that the Flint water crisis had started, and it seems that he knew about the lead in the water, and where is it? Legionella, weeks or months before he publicly said he knew anything about it. So just so inept to actually deal with the crisis. He just let it go, which caused his inaction caused at least 12 people to die, and some sources say maybe hundreds died too. Just the short amount of time that we can show that he had known of the crisis and didn't do anything. Aside from that, President Obama and him had pretty much just created like a little circus act, and had done things or had talked behind the scenes before Obama pulled his stunt and wetting his lips of the Flint water, which just made light of the whole situation. If you don't remember that, if you haven't seen that video, it's pretty sad. It's devastating because he really minimized the crisis as a whole, to where is if the president who came to deal with the crisis, if he had taken it seriously, he could have got like the Army Corps of engineers there to help fix the problem, like immediately. Like they needed help. This was an emergency. Lead is a neurotoxin, as well as like lead poisoning like harms the body in other ways. Heavy metal poisoning. So this is really too little, too late, and I feel like this is going to be the main thing of the night. Is just too little, too late, or too much, too late. Just with every story we have tonight, it's really disappointing. Just the state of everything. So. I'm sorry that's just gonna be kind of how it is. Let me fix my hair. So we have that's the first thing, and really the only thing I have to say about this is, like, yes, we have some progress. Former I think he was the governor, Rick Snyder, has been charged, and that's again like a little too late, Like this has been going on for 6-7 years, and someone's finally been charged. This is really sad, but we're going to keep up on this. If there's any more details that come out, we are going to let you guys know what that is. Oh, and the charge was an involuntary manslaughter, because as I said, this caused the death of at least 12 people. Looking here real quick. That's okay. All right. Well, I'm going to leave it there for now until we see more really unfold here. I'm really excited to see anything happen. So that's why I wanted to mention it, because nothing's happened with this for a while. As far as we know, Flint still doesn't have clean and safe water. Honestly, I talked to someone about 2 months ago who lives in Flint, Michigan, and she told me that they still buy bottled water for everything, and they usually have to buy it now. The state and the local government there, they're not taking the crisis as seriously as before, because they've acted like it's fixed, but also Rick Snyder's right-hand man, I think, is the one who, and I forget his name, he went to a lot of different houses and told people, run your sinks for so long, take a sample, and then then give it back to us and we'll test it. And that's the wrong way to test water. You don't let it run. You're supposed to get the best sample by like getting the sample right away. And this happened like 3 years ago. They were really trying to cover up a lot. Like, so they tried to fix it. It didn't look like a super fix. So they tried to like fuck up the results of any tests that show that they haven't, that they still are very inept in solving this problem. It's disgusting. It really sucks. And I really hope we get some good developments out of this, and that this is just the first bit of charges that's brought up against Snyder and any of his like local administration. But we'll see. 2020 and 2021. I'm so far I'm just thinking that 2021 is going to be 2020.1. That's how I look at it. So I don't have a lot of hope, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, we can go ahead and move on to the next topic, if you don't mind, Nacha. Let me check here. All right, the next thing on my list was a quick update on Force the Vote. If you guys missed the last episode, I pretty much went on a 45-minute rant. And hello, Robert X and the Cabernacle. Welcome back. I haven't seen you in here a lot. So yeah, last time I was in here, I just went on a rant about Force the Vote, and if you didn't know, I was absolutely for it. I think it was a really good idea, because it's a no-brainer. It's just a good tactic, is what it is. As far as Jimmy Dore's decorum goes, maybe it could be better. I absolutely agree with that. He was very straightforward and angry, and he used very forceful language against some of the politicians like AOC and anyone else who just didn't respond to him. He had a town hall where 100,000 people showed up and none of the squad did. And it really, some people say that it caused a split in the progressive left community, but he likes to argue that it just showed that there was a rift in the community, people who are going to fight for it and people who are not. And I think whether or not you agree with him, he really does have the he has the right to be as angry as he is, especially if you like listen to his story. And he had good points. Like that's it. Like if I was really hoping Christy would be here today, because this would be a good back and forth conversation, I think. But I will just liken this back to a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. One of our previous shows, I had discussed that when we're talking about religion and atheism and just the way that we communicate our views, you get a lot of different forms of communication, a lot of different, not just messages, but ways to convey certain messages, certain arguments, right? So you get the genetically modified skeptic, Drew, kind of version, which is very, very light, easygoing, makes points, doesn't give very many jabs, but is really directed towards people who are still Christians to just try to open up that door of communication in a really good faith way. Then you have people more like Arn Ra, who takes his arguments and his feelings and puts them right in your face and says, if you don't like it, then don't put your feelings and thoughts on my face. This is how it feels, and this is how it feels to be in a free society. We can share our views, and if you don't like mine, tough shit, I don't like yours either. And everyone has a different way to share their thoughts, and I think they're all legitimate, because people respond differently to those. Some of those tones really ring true to different people. It's like sometimes you can hear the same thing over and over, but if someone says it more forceful or more softly to you, you listen better for some reason. It just works person to person. Communication is key, and we need every form of communication when we're pushing these policies, and trying to make people understand any point of view that we have, religion, politics, philosophy, so on and so forth. It's important, and I felt like it was important to say, because there is a rift, no matter where it was caused, how it was caused. And I think that's something that if you're going to coalesce at all as a movement, as a group for any singular issue, or just as the left or as atheists, cats in a bag, you at least need to respect that other people communicate differently. And if you don't like it, there's a difference between condemning the way they say it and condemning what they say. So I thought that was important to point out. The other thing that's important is it didn't work, because the squad didn't listen. And I think most of it does fall on the squad, because they did hear Jimmy Dore and his movement force the vote, but they didn't listen. And they voted for Nancy Pelosi a couple of weeks ago to remain Speaker of the House, which is disappointing, to say the least. To vote against Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have given the via leadership to the Republicans. They would have needed 218 votes, and that was just impossible for them to get. It just would have delayed someone being Speaker of the House, because they would have to go through the nomination process again over and over until someone negotiated and they got enough votes. And it's just basically lather, rinse, and repeat. Just you say we want a floor vote on Medicare for all, or we're not voting for you, whether it's Nancy Pelosi or AOC or Chuck Schumer, not Chuck Schumer, but anyone that you're going to give your vote to has to promise you this one thing. And that's what the squad is there for. Like, this was part of their campaign promises. They want to get Medicare for all for us, but at least get a fucking floor vote on it, because that's what we haven't gotten yet. That's progress. We need that. It puts it at the forefront of discussion, and it's progress. Like, that's step one. You don't always win on the first vote, but you got to put it up there. And again, at least it's up there. That said, a lot of the left is still trying to figure out how to work with each other after that more or less a shit show. And I really do see both sides of, or not just both sides. There's a lot of different opinions on how that was handled. But I, for one, think it was a no-brainer tactic. It really needed to be done. And it's really sad that it wasn't, because it was so easy. It was so easy to do. It was so easy to ask for. It was breadcrumbs. And it seems that's all we get over here in America. So why is that surprising? All right, Nacha, I'm ready for the next run here. Yeah, so some fun stuff happened last Wednesday at our nation's Capitol building. There was a really peaceful protest where people were really respectful and nothing bad happened at all. Because it was the right wing, and they don't act like the left-wing extremist Black Lives Matters movement. So again, nothing bad happened whatsoever. It was perfectly fine. No one got hurt, and everyone was super respectful, and no one entered the Capitol building. So are we ready to move on, Nacha? No? Okay. Well, so what really did happen is a bunch of shit. You had everyone there who are just some of Trump's most fervent supporters. And I feel like this one is a pretty nuanced discussion to have. Again, I really wish Christy was here. We miss you tonight, Christy, because a lot of back and forth would make this a really good conversation. But yeah, it was absolutely a shit show. Abhorrent things happened. One female protester who was an Army vet, Air Force vet, she was shot after she broke a window to a door and tried to climb in. The Capitol Police just like shot her there on the spot. At least one officer, he died, and he was bludgeoned to death with a fire extinguisher. I also heard, but I didn't confirm this, so take this with a grain of salt, that another one died. He sustained injuries and then later died of suicide. So that one was interesting. Again, I didn't confirm that one myself. And there were over 50 people injured. So a lot of people were hurt. There was a lot of they stormed they stormed the Capitol building. I'm hearing things like, it was an inside job. And it definitely seems like it when you watch some of the video. Some of the Capitol Police just moved barricades to let the protesters through. It seems like the day before. Excuse me. The day before, there were more tours going on than usual, and which is extra rare because there haven't been very many or any tours since they shut down the Capitol, like back in March or May. Can't remember which one. And there were an unusual amount of tours of the Capitol building going on the 5th, and this happened on the 6th. And some people overheard people saying that this was reconnaissance, and then what happened the next day happened the next day, and some of the people who were doing the tours were some of the supporters of the, not necessarily the riots, but the coalition, I guess you could say, just wanting people to coalesce and come to the Capitol and help them overturn the election for Donald Trump. One member, as the protest was happening and before people got inside, did say that those are my people outside, because they could hear them yelling through the walls. So people got inside. They chased down the Capitol Police. They went to both chambers, the Senate and the House, hoping to find, I can only imagine they were hoping to find members of Congress, because one man, as you can see in pictures, had zip ties, the kind that some police use as temporary handcuffs, and they were armed. Why would they be armed and go into the Capitol building? I don't know. You answer that question. And a lot of them were wearing just military and tactical gear, so on and so forth. There was a lot of MAGA hats. There were some Confederate flags that were brought inside the Capitol building, which didn't surprise me a lot, except when AOC actually said that the Confederate flag never even made it into the Capitol building during the Civil War. I was like, oh, that's an interesting bit of knowledge to know. And that it did now during this. And there's so many people on the right who say that these people aren't racist. Not that that's the biggest issue, because it's not the biggest issue, but it is an issue, and they totally are racist. If you look at some of their the shirts that they were wearing, it's they were wearing like Camp Auschwitz shirts and so on and so forth, like literal Nazi sympathizers and literal Nazis and literal the South War as again kind of people. Really just the worst kind of stuff that we have in America. Whether or not they recognize it as racist, it is. And you can be racist out of ignorance. You can say something racist and not know it was racist. And this is like you need to be pretty far removed from today's reality to not know that. But some people are that far removed from reality and not actually understand how racist they are. Maybe I'm giving a little too much. Maybe I'm granting too much innocence, but I think there is innocence to be granted. Ignorance is bliss. And most, if not all of these people, I'm sure, believe that the election was rigged. Donald Trump really won. They are defending democracy. We've talked about this before, and I don't want to have a double standard. I've said that I don't want to just say Muslim terrorists. Al-Qaeda and Taliban, those who we deem as terrorists, and they are terrorist groups, they feel like they're doing right? Here in America, at least, we paint these groups as pure evil, right? Their cause is to destroy America, kill Christianity, kill Americans. This is how they're painted, with absolutely no new, why do they want to kill us? We don't go into that, right? It can't possibly be because we have invaded their country in one way or another, and we ruined their lives to the points of maybe we've killed some of their family members, directly or indirectly. And if you kill someone's entire family, what would that last remaining family member want to do? I don't know. You think about it. It's not hard to think about how they justify their actions, right? And again, I say ignorance is bliss. If we do have a misinformation problem here in the States, it's pretty abhorrent. I think everyone knows that, especially everyone watching this, right? You guys all get it, ladies and gents. When Donald Trump says fake news, that's fake news, it rings true to so many people because there is so much fucking fake news. How often does MSNBC and CNN lie just by omission, right? You could say that they basically lied by omission by not covering the Adapal pipeline, Standing Rock, enough. They just lie about something going on that's terribly dramatic, and just we were invading a sovereign nation on our own soil for private companies, and Obama did nothing about it until his lame duck part of his presidency, and we don't talk about it. We put an empty podium of Trump being late to a rally, and we don't cover Bernie Sanders when he has a room packed full of people, or we've stolen the election from him because we let the DNC do whatever the fuck it wants. We don't have a lot of honest media. I'll take that back. We have a lot of dishonest media. We have a lot of dishonest actors. We have a lot of bullshit that our mainstream media covers up, and people know that. And when things started happening at the Capitol, I started having people at work ask me what's going on, and I didn't know yet. I was still catching up on the day before. So they told me a little bit there's this protest has gotten out of hand, and they're starting to a riot, and I think they're trying to get into the Capitol building. And I just I thought for a second, and have you ever seen The Watchmen? It's a really interesting movie, and there's a character. He's one of the heroes, or villain, if you would, but he's one of the heroes in the film, and he's just one of the most violent characters that you will see. in a movie. Helped in Vietnam, killed civilians, killed kids, killed women. He would go to protests, jump out of their giant flying owl, shoot people down, hit them with a grenade launcher, laugh the whole time he's doing it because he's like, this shit's hilarious. This is too goddamn funny. And the partner, Rorschach, you're close, Larry West. And the comedian, yes, Larry West, you got it, the comedian. He thinks it's funny. Thinks it's funny because this is just crazy shit. And if this is it feels like a coping mechanism. If I mean, you can look at it that way. He sees the world around him as just crazy shit everywhere. And the way that he deals with it is he laughs. And that was my immediate reaction, especially before how serious, like before I knew how serious that it was getting. I'm trying to be honest here. I thought, of course this is happening. What else would happen? Like the way that they push everything but the issues that people care about. People get sick of it. Like what else would happen? And like I don't laugh just because it's funny. I laugh because like it's like sad funny. It's funny in a way and it's disgusting in another and in the same way. I don't know if anyone agrees, or I hope you don't think this abhorrent, but it's a little ironic. And I did premise it with like, I hope no one gets hurt, but I mean, like if someone does, like, of course they did. Of course people are going to get hurt because the entire, like, people hate Congress the most. It's the least trusted and liked branch of fucking government, the legislative branch, because they don't get anything done. And people know that. They don't sympathize. And just like, yeah, people are going to act like they're upset, but at the same time, are many people going to be upset? It's just a legislative branch and they don't do anything. No one likes them. I would love to serve in Congress someday. That's the branch of government that I would like to serve in if I can ever do that. But holy shit, they're not making friends of the people. If you're not making friends of the people and you're like letting them die out there during a pandemic and being thrown out on the streets because there's no eviction moratorium and no one's paying for health care, like it's like you are asking someone to be violent to the people who are in power. It's like they are like next to literally begging for it. As much as Donald Trump is saying, hey, come to the Capitol and fight like hell, but I don't mean actually be violent. It's like the Congress. It's like every branch of government almost is just like, hey, fuck you guys, fuck you guys, fuck you guys. Are you hurting? Are you dying? Fuck you guys. Don't do anything. It's like they're instigating it as much as he did. That's why I had the initial reaction. It's like, it's kind of funny. It's not funny, but it's kind of funny. I hope you understand what I mean. I would like to remind you, I am a humanist. I know that doesn't sound humanist, but it's funny in the most ironic way. Again, the comedian comes to mind. It's sick. It's sick. It's demented. And if you don't want to be sad about it, you gotta laugh at it. And it's not funny. So I would like to know what everyone thinks of this. Leave your comments down below. Put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. I would love to know if anyone else thought it was funny in an ironic way. Again, it was tragic. People died. It's awful. All of the onus is on the right wing for this. Again, I'm sorry, I have to take that back. A lot of the direct onus is on the right wing for this, Trump's base. But at least a fucking third of it is on everyone else for just not helping people. Of course, people are pissed. AOC even said in her hour rant the other day that these people were trying to overthrow a free and fair election. That's being generous calling it that, with as much voter suppression as so many states push. Is it really free and fair? Like, Biden probably would have won by more, right? Bernie Sanders probably would have won in 2016 if the DNC or the D-Triple-C didn't fucking have their way with, well, we can elect whoever we want, we're a private company. Like, you push people for so long, and then you ask for unity, and we'll help you if we have unity. Just fucking kidding, we're not going to help you. It's just this revolving door of just pissing people off and letting people down and letting people die. How many people die a day from just not having healthcare? How many people die a year from not having healthcare? It's tens of thousands. Tens of thousands. And I know that that's not what this protest, this riot was about. But it doesn't take much to push people over the edge when this is our fucking baseline on either side of the aisle. Everyone lives in the same fucking America, unless you're really rich. This is their baseline too. They're just mad about it at different angles for different reasons, and a lot of dumb reasons. But they're pissed too. I have to sympathize with them to a point, because this is what happens. I want to be consistent. I said the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement. Those people had much more of a right to be upset. Ignore those people, I said, for the Black Lives Matter movement and protests and riots, whatever. But I said, of course they're rioting. Like, Martin Luther King Jr. said that rioting is the speech of people who are not heard. And what are we consistently trying to do to this right-wing mob, this Trump base that we have? We're trying to shut them up and censor them over and over again. And we say the same thing about, oh, what's his name? Nacho, maybe you can help me out in the chat. We don't speak his name much anymore. Matt Powell, there it is. When you censor and just shut down the worst of speech, it goes and grows in the dark. That's what it does. We know that. We shut down Nazis and they just walked into the Capitol. Is it because they don't exist anymore? No, it's because they find their own bubbles and they grow within them. It's what we're doing isn't working. And I don't have all of the best solutions. I have some solutions and I'll share one with you here in a moment. But what we are doing, speaking of our capitalism in general, our healthcare system, just how wealth is distributed in this country, and how our fucking Congress works and the executive branch, at least those two, it's not working for people. So you get shit like this, like last Wednesday. because government doesn't work for us, and people know it. You can know that the government is corrupt and not have a valid argument to why. People can know that a thing is true and not know why it's true, right? For any atheists who've ever dabbled in philosophy for a while, or anyone who's dabbled in philosophy and logic for a while, you probably know that you can find a true conclusion and not have the right path to get there, like not have the right right premises to get there. You can know it's raining outside because you looked out a window, or you can know it's raining outside, but you dreamed that it was raining. And you wake up and you're like, oh, it's totally raining. You look outside and it's like, oh, yeah, I knew that because I dreamed it. Right? Or it's raining because I had a dream. And whenever I dream about the weather, that's what the weather is. And that's nonsense. But you know what it is outside when you look. What happened last week? It was a bunch of shit. More might happen. Absolutely possible. Really bad things could happen during the inauguration. I'm not saying they will. Fuck if I know. Maybe nothing will happen. Maybe the worst will happen, plus some cherries on top. Like, we don't fucking know. We didn't know this was going to happen. We should have known. It was posted all over online, January 6th. Let's meet up at the Capitol. Fucking fix this shit. Bring your Confederate flags. Also, I heard that there's been some reports. Again, I haven't confirmed this bit yet, but I'll mention it because it's worth at least hearing the hearsay that a lot of the panic buttons and the representatives' offices were ripped out the day before. So they go to hit their buttons and the buttons aren't fucking there. They're panic buttons to call for help. It sounds like there was a lot more inside work done than we thought last Wednesday or Thursday. But a lot of new information is still coming to light every day. A couple last thoughts on this topic. I don't know how everyone feels about Donald Trump being blocked on Twitter and Facebook and shops and shit. I ultimately feel one way, but I see the arguments on both sides. You need to denounce poor speech. Maybe you even need to censor it. You need to denounce people who call for violence. And direct calls of violence is where free speech isn't covered anymore. Not just legally, but like that's where my line is too, right? That's my personal line. Like once you call for violence, you're like, oh, no, shit, you're not protected anymore. Where I differ from a lot of people right now is that you don't need to block it. You don't need to take it down, especially when it's the words of the President of the United States or another like legal, like elected representative of any kind, because that's news. That's newsworthy, right? I think Twitter should at least put like a red stamp on it or something. So like this is disgusting. We don't stand by it. Viewer discretion is advised. This is bullshit. Maybe attach like a link to like legal code where this is illegal. This isn't covered for with free speech. And acting on said things can lead to certain charges being right. Like I feel like this isn't hard to think of other appropriate ways to do this without actually messing with someone's freedom of speech. And before you say it, I do recognize that these are private companies. They can do what they want. Legally, they can do what they want. If they're protected, this conversation doesn't need to be had that way. Except I think Facebook, Twitter, things that are used as like the new public square should be made public. They shouldn't be private anymore. They should be handed over to society. They should be nationalized is what I think, honestly. If something is used like as a public tool, like public square, this is where people go to converse. Censored can mean different things. To be completely blocked, I think is not good, especially since I think it should be a public platform owned by the public. I think different methods should be used, if any. Like I think things should be marked, but not hidden from public view, because bad ideas grow in the dark, as I just said. I hope that makes sense to everyone. RB says inciting violence and insurrection is not covered by free speech rights. No, I agree. I just think that it's newsworthy. I'm not sure if you're directing it towards me. Let me know. But I agree, and it is not covered by free speech rights. Absolutely not. But I think it should be there for people to see, because I mean, not only is it news, it's history. It's like the worst president we've had in our country's history. We should know what he said. And people who really want to know what it says to do something. They're going to find out anyways. Like people take snapshots, they're going to share it, and then they're going to act on it anyways. That's what I think. I think that he shouldn't have been completely taken off Twitter if it was a public platform. Since it is, I'm glad they did, but I still see that there are systematic issues with making Jack and Mark Zuckerberg the arbiters of truth. That sounds like it has negative implications that we would fight against. Like as progressives, as people on the left, people who are anti-authoritarian, because you can have authoritarianism up here, on top. And when you get so far down on the libertarian line, you can get it again, because there's so much disorder that you have just anarchy, and you have smaller pockets of authoritarianism. You have people who just have the power to exercise that power without oversight. And it's just a different form of authoritarianism, the way I see it. So there's some food for thought. Hope you appreciate it. That said, let's move on. Lord Bryant, please share it sometime. All right, next one here. What do we have? Aha! Oh, and not just sent me a question here. I don't know if he copied someone else's. Do you think that Twitter should be made public, or there should be a publicly owned option? I think Twitter should be made public. So since you asked that, let me, I'll expand, and I'll try to do it quickly because we just switched topics. I have said before that I think something that would help our capitalist society, especially here, is a wealth cap. So for instance, and I'm not saying this is the end all be all number here, not at all. Maybe it should be lower, maybe it should be higher. I think maybe it should be lower. $50 million, you're done. You've made all the money you can make. The rest goes straight back into society. It trickles down. You can say it though, that like you've made it. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. How many of you watching have $50 million? That'd be great. I really wouldn't have to work another day in my life. Activist. Hi, that's for you. Good to see you. Basically, you've just made it to the top. If you've made that fucking much, you don't need to. And also, Brooke, hello. Holy crap, a lot of people showing up. Thank you, guys. Very great to see you. Couple old faces I ain't seen in a while. Where was I? Okay, so you basically made it to the top. Wealth cap. All right, we have a wealth cap, and my perfect world here, I guess. This is one of my solutions. Food for thought. If you get that in place, a lot of money actually does trickle down more. Now, why I started with this is because now transferring that over to actual businesses, I think you can transfer that idea of a wealth cap over to a business, or that like basic premise, in like two different ways. One, once the CEO or the president or whatever of the company makes so much, not only does he hit that wealth cap, like he should step down, someone else should take over. So they have a chance to make that. You pass it down to his son, right? You're gonna run out of sons if you're making billions, right? Like Jeff Bezos is gonna run out of sons to a point, but now that he's gone, right? It just keeps going down the line. Like we can regulate it more, but I'm trying to be generous to the capitalists with this. So let's say just the company itself makes a certain amount of money, like Twitter and Facebook. They make a shit ton of money. And they reach so many people. Again, also like Amazon. I think when it reaches a certain point, and I'm going to say it like this and tell you why I'm saying it like this, because you need to market this shit to people, right? You need to make your arguments like not just coherent, but like digestible. Like people are like, oh, that doesn't sound evil and socialist, because it's not. You say prestigious. You say, cool, your company has reached such a level of like good finances and outreach to the public. It is now prestiged to a publicly owned or a nationalized like organization, right? So now, that said, the power now actually automatically, like if we don't have worker co-ops already, it becomes a worker co-op. So the people run it. The CEOs have to train people to like turn it over, keep it going, because this is now not just like government run, it's run by the people and for the people of that said country. And now that it's a public utility, saying Twitter or Facebook, it should get the same kind of treatment like a public utility or like free speech. Like if it's being used for speech, I'm saying, then it should not, it shouldn't have the freedom that a private company would. And they have to go by like laws, like a government would have to go by laws. They can't smother your freedom of speech because it's run by the government. You see what I mean? So this is kind of, I'm trying to kill a couple birds with like one stone here. And I'm interested to see what people think of these ideas. But I think the wealth cap thing is definitely something I'm getting married to as far as ideas go. I really like that idea of a wealth cap in our country, because that would really help spread wealth, at least to a point. And as far as businesses go, I'm starting, because I've only come up with this idea on my own like a couple weeks ago, of just a business prestiging, right? And that could mean different things depending on what it is. And I'm no dictator. This is just an idea I think would be good. So that said, yeah, we're going to go ahead and move on to justice for Zara K, because this is important. So I'm going to read one of the old statements here. This is from exmuslim.org, .uk. Urgent action. Tanzanian government must drop all charges against Zara K immediately and unconditionally. Has some hashtags here. Hashtag justice for Zara, hashtag release Zara, and hashtag free Zara K. This goes over what's going on at the face of her situation right now. So if you don't know, here's some information. Actually, I'll give you the link first. I got this link from Mimsy Vids. They're covering this pretty greatly. So here's what I'm reading to you. I'll just put it down in the chat. The International Coalition of Ex-Muslims unequivocally condemns the arrest of Zara K, an Australian citizen and founder of Faithless Hijabi, a member of our coalition. Zara was summoned to the Dar es Salaam Oyster Bay police station on December 28th, 2020, and was held in police custody for 32 hours without clear indication of charges. We've been informed now recently that she is out on bail, so everyone knows, but that is not in this. This was earlier. Hashtag Zara K's arrest is politically motivated, and the charges are now one, social media deemed a social media post deemed to be critical of the president of Tanzania, John Magufuli, I think that's how you say it. These straight line satirical posts were posted in May when Zara was still in London, addressing the handling of COVID-19 in Tanzania. Two, not returning her Tanzanian passport after gaining Australian citizenship. Excuse me, I promise this isn't boring to me. She never returned her Tanzanian passport, as she as she misplaced and never used it after gaining Australian citizenship. And 3, using a SIM card not registered in her name. This was registered to a family member's name, is in parentheses. We call on the Tanzanian government to unconditionally and immediately drop all the charges against Zara K to allow her to leave the country. Restrictions on the right to freedom of expression and conscience are in violation of the country's international human rights obligations. We also call on the public to take action by contacting Tanzanian embassies and countries of residence, by contacting the Tanzanian government, urgently calling for all charges to be dropped, and then the information to get a hold of the President John P. Magufuli in Tanzania is here at the bottom of the link I just shared with you guys. So when she was first picked up, it was said that she was being charged with blasphemy, but the Tanzanian government cannot directly charge her with that. So they're finding other things to get it for. Before this happened, she was getting threats to not pick up one of her family members from their school because they don't want to see her basically her apostate face anywhere near their school. And she was being threatened. And this is common for Zara K. She gets a lot of threats, sexual harassment and death threats. She gets a lot of them. If you are ex-Muslim woman and you show your face online, you get a lot of very disturbing sexual assault threats and just death threats in general. Zara K is the founder of Faithless Hijabi. She helps women who are leaving the Muslim faith or who want to stay in it but don't want to wear hijab. She is a very outspoken activist when it comes to women and women who are leaving the Muslim faith. It's she's a really important voice. She's quite the humanist, and she's the one who needs help right now. And how you can help is gain more attention, share links, check every day on her Twitter, because a trusted friend has control of her Twitter account right now, and they're trying to update it. Excuse me. Again, I'm sorry. So just trying to stay informed on this, and sharing links on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, wherever you social media, share the information, share a hashtag justice for Zara, hashtag release Zara, and hashtag free Zara K. Use any or all of those, share the information. She needs to be let out of Tanzania, and this is her country of origin. This is the country she fled, she left, and that is why she is an Australian citizen now. It's not really safe for her there, but she went back there for some work and also to see family, and now they're not letting her leave. So again, please just stay informed, share information. That's how you can help Zara K. She's helped other ex-Muslims in situations similar to hers. So not just being fair, but being good humanists. If you like to see yourself as one, is just do this small thing. Stay a little informed every day. Share updates and make sure people know about it. And don't just let your atheist friends know. Let everyone know. This is important. If anyone cares about free speech, which I'm sure you know someone who cares about free speech, then you shouldn't be sentenced to death for blasphemy, right? And that is ultimately in the Muslim world. So make it known. And if you guys know any extra information about Zara K, let us know too. Add us on Twitter, please. We want to know more, and I would really like to do an update on Zara every week until she's released. So if you guys hear anything, let us know too. All right, I think that was about everything we were gonna share tonight. What else we got? Nacha. That's it. Okay, well, he's got a storm over there. It's probably a super storm because everything's super in Australia. I mean, everything there is super. I gotta kill you. So we will wrap up. I will let you guys know I went to go get some tweets of God for the show, and there aren't any. It seems they're not popping up. I don't know why, but I did see about a week ago that he posted, "Humanity was a mistake. I quit. I'm leaving the galaxy." So I don't know what that's all about, but I don't know. Maybe we won't get any more. After last week, I would understand why. But again, a little too late. So there we'll end it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Christy, we miss you. Please get better. Please be here next week because I do like to hear myself talk, but I'm not the only one getting sick of it. Come on, get back here. All right, we love you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Nacha, for being awesome and being behind the scenes and always being here for us. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and stay humanist for God's sake.